look at this. Look at the battling, and it is a safety car. Here comes Mika into Stoke Corner. Whoa! Almost! And away we go here in the Netherlands for F leading down towards the next cover. Oh, it is! Oh my god! Whoa! Bit of the season as Nolo wins! In Monza for FRLT Tier 1 of 4. And right, Benny! Oh, he goes! Hello, and welcome to FRLT season number 5, and it is time for round number 11 of the no assist season. This week we come to none other than the track of COTA. As you can see, it is 5.513 kilometers, 3.425 miles, 20 turns, 2 dash zones down the pit straight and down that long main straight. Also, that counts as a back straight at the same time between turn 11 and turn 12. Quite a lot of elevation towards turn 1, of course, as I believe it's the most elevation for turn 1 out of any corner on the calendar. Talking about the calendar, let's have a look at it. We have gone through Monza, Belgium, Australia, Singapore, Las Vegas, Mexico, the Mystery Race, Great Britain, Bahrain, Japan, and this week we come to COTA. Only 2 more races to go. Next week will be a break week. Next week before we go to the Netherlands, and then the finale, which is going to be at Qatar. It will be at Qatar if I'm correct. If I'm correct, I might not be. No, not Qatar, sorry. It might be. I don't remember anymore. It might be Qatar. Yeah, it will be Qatar. My apologies. I've completely forgotten my own calendar. Looking at the standings, it's a very different thing on the standings, though. I'm not very confused with this. SET lead the championship with a great victory in Japan. They actually lost quite a big chunk of their lead, only P1 and P10. A tough race for them, especially for their second driver, Wheeze. Ultimately leaving them just 8 points ahead of OMB, as OMB took a brilliant finish last week. Top of the points last week in Japan. EVR, though, tough finish, only 2 points in the end, and they dropped down to 3rd in the Constructors. They've still got a chance in the championship, 22 points behind, but they've got to catch quite a bit before anything will change, especially with just these final 3 races to go. At the same time, there is a lot of things going on. I'm going to point that out. There's a lot of things going on because SKG got their best finish since round 4 this season. Round 4, round 5, I believe. I believe it was round 4. And they scored 10 points, bringing themselves closer to Rosso. So possibly a battle over P4 in the Constructors. Rosso with another tough finish to their season, not adding on much. Only 3 points added on for their season. VRE, though, P3 and P7, another podium coming in for the team, the second this season, and ultimately bringing themselves closer and into that battle for 5th in the Constructors. But we have made it to the track. Yes, we have finally made it to the track. And the first driver out on track is KJ in the Alpine, of course, in that pink and blue car. Also for EVR. He's had a couple of races this season. It's looking like he could even seal the deal and gain a couple of places, hopefully, tonight in the driver's standings. Current championship leader, Speedy Boy, on 120 points, by the way. Closest driver to him is William Boyter on 66 points. So, unless William Boyter tonight finds about, I believe, about 20 points on his championship rival here today, unless he finds 20 points on the championship leader, his chance for the championship will be out the window. It's about, 18 points, I should say. He needs to find at least 18 points per race now over the man of Speedy to win the Drivers' Championship. So that is going to be a big one for himself. As KJ is just about to start his lap. As he comes around the final corner now, down onto the pit straight. Making his way up towards turn 1. You've got to get turn 1 right. You've got to make it work into turn 1. Very good. Through the corner, keeping the car turned in. That's the main thing that you've got to do. You've got to have the car turned in. Now, through the S section, starting off, it's very simple. Then you hit with a tighter corner. Then another tighter corner, which goes on for almost forever. The first sector is going to be a 24.807 for the first sector. Still heading up the hill, still going through the S section. And finally, it comes to an end. It takes a while for it to come to an end. But now heading down towards the second hairpin on the track. One of, incredibly, 4 hairpins on this track, by the way. It's one of 4 hairpins. This track has the most hairpin turns out of any track on the calendar. Heading down towards now turn 12. You've got to get this corner right. On the brakes. Throwing the car in. And very nice through there from KJ. 1 minute 1.515 is that middle sector. So not looking too bad. Not looking too bad at the moment. Into next hairpin. A little bit of understeer. You see quite a bit of understeer hitting the car there for KJ. Clearly not having the easiest of times. And he misses the apex quite a bit there. The car really struggling to get any turn in there. And again, into the final corner, a bit of understeer, and across the line, it's going to be a 1 minute 31.761 to start off tonight's, I should say, tonight's qualifying session. Wade McCub coming around the final corner now. Let's see, can he beat that? No, he's not. It's going to be a 1 minute 33.015. He knows he's far, far away. He knows that was not a good run from himself. Salvo Almeida goes quite a bit quicker. 1 minute 31.326. Quite a lot faster. 4/10 over KJ. Julian slots in with a 32.865. Going quite a bit slower there. Not what he needed. That's then Litty, who's just started a lap. And Naseki is in. We're waiting for Inver to come round. Let's see what Inver can do when he crosses line. He goes fastest of all, 1 minute 31.275. An incredible lap there. That's a very, very good lap from himself to go into provisional pole, but he's not far ahead. 51 thousandths of a second ahead of Salvo Almeida, of course. Both teams gunning for it in the championship, pushing everything they've got. The bar. Tsunami goes to a 32.7. Doesn't seem too happy with that lap, though. Haquin has invalidated. David has also invalidated. It would have been a 31.6. And I'm not sure what it would have been for Haquin. Alberto goes into P3. 1 minute 31.3 as well. Both teammates going into the 1 minute 31.3s within a 10th of provisional pole. So at the moment, it's looking quite close. Out on top, I've got to say, it's looking very close. Next is William Boyter. Whoa, a lot of swing on the rear there. Not looking too good for himself. Bit of struggle. And across the line, he goes P4, 1 minute 31.5. Slotting in quite nicely between, exactly in the middle between Alberto and KJ. In the timings, Zenliti is heading round. He's had a bit of a slower middle sector. He only does a 32.0 as well. So at the moment, 12,000 splitting the two of them. So not looking like the best of evenings for the two of them. Speedy's coming around. Speedy not having a great middle sector though. He's a couple of hundredths down on his teammate. Across the line, he goes P4 into a 31.477. Pretty close. Very, very close between the top four. 2/10 splitting them at the moment, but it seems to be very one-sided. I would say that at the moment. Very one-sided in pace at the moment. very one-sided in pace at the moment. I think it's been very clear throughout this season. It has simply been, in the last sort of 3 races, I'd say, it's very much just been OMB and SET who have both sort of been the leaders of the pace. EVR have dropped off a little bit in the last couple of races. They've dropped back quite a lot, actually, when it comes down to pace. They're no longer inside. They're no longer first. They're not even second. And just to point out, they're not even fourth. They're not even third at the moment either. They've actually dropped down to being the 4th quickest team on the grid at the moment. That's how hard they were hit by that tough race last week. I know I also have these up on here. I just want to point out these are wrong. But the track-to-track data, by the way, this is going to interest you. The track-to-track data is exactly the same. So the other 2 are wrong and they're old. Sadly, we didn't have time to update them this week. But the track-to-track data is actually, after last week, I looked at this and I remember this. It's exactly the same. It stayed exactly the same. EVR is still quicker on the straights and in places that you wouldn't expect. Some of the others aren't. But let's see what Nicholas Boyter can do on his lap. Rosso not having the best of seasons at the moment. 117 points now after 10 races after round 10. That's, pretty decent. 11.7 points per race, which is actually very good. 4th highest on the grid. But in the last 5 races, more in the last 4 races, I'd say 3-4 races, that's betrayed them in their consistency. They were the highest average. They're the highest average finish out of a team, and most consistent finish, by the way, out of the first 6 races of this season. The first 6 races of the season, they had the most consistent and best average of any team out there. Between teammates on the grid as a team, and then after round 7, it just has completely disappeared. They're now currently sitting 5th in average performance. Average performance now, they've dropped from being the best team. They're already down to 5th this season for best. They're about to be overtaken as well, by the way, by none other than SKG for 5th, as Nicholas Boyter goes P7, 32.3. Inver's on another lap. He's only gone 65 thousandths slower, though, so he's not found the time on his lap. But, yeah, I think Rosso... I think round 7... I think a lot of people took round 7 as it was just an off week. EVR had it for even last race in round 10. EVR had it. Every team's had it, but I think it's the fact that round 8 was just a repeat of round 7, slightly better. Round 9 just got a bit worse, and round 10 was even worse. It's like sort of Rosso have just kind of fallen backwards. They remind me of Aston Martin in 2023, actually, with how much they've fallen back. As Inver is still 88 thousandths down. He's lost a little bit more time again. But yeah, I think Rosso's reminding me at the moment of a team that's a bit desperate at the moment to get a finish in there. Because, they've now gone 4 races, scoring the lowest points they have all season. They're on the brink of potentially not just losing 1 place. They could even lose 2 places to a team that only started in round 6. So, round 6, round 7. So, at the moment, there's a lot of worry. I think it was round 7 that that VRE started. So, there's a lot of worry at the moment. And, if I was being honest, I think it's right to worry right now. Because I don't think it'd be right if I told them, don't worry, it's going to be fine. As KJ, by the way, brings himself up to P5, just slotting in front of Willie and Boyter. The Bard Tsunami as well, slotting in 7th, so a very strong lap there. David Kupzik is coming across the line next. You can see Willie and Boyter starting his lap as well. I think we've got Pimarolda heading round slowly, and then Zen Litty as well. So the next car will be Bourbon Boy who has invalidated, sadly. He's invalidated that lap. Herquin, though, purple in the middle sector. Looking pretty good from Herquin. Vigley, let's see how he can do tonight, because to be honest, Quinn has been pretty strong this season for VRE. 3 races, by the way, I believe, for Quinn. 2 podiums in 3 races now. Really looking incredibly strong out there. As Quinn goes fastest of all, 1 minute 31.113. He finds over a tenth and a half Alberto. 1 minute 30.885. Short-lived for Quinn and for VRE. Incredibly short-lived. That moment of excitement as Alberto now takes over. But it's still showing that possibly there is pace in that McLaren, and there is a chance for anything to happen. As there goes Speedy, he just slots into 3rd ahead of his teammate. His teammate not being able to put together a good enough lap, but in 3rd place now for Speedy. We've got David Kupsik heading round. He goes P3, 1,000th of a second behind Quinn. I've got to say, that is one hell of a lap there. And the fact, teammates, this might be the closest finish, I think, ever. If this was how qualifying ended, this could be the closest finish I think I've ever seen between teammates and that we've ever had in FRLT. Just to point out, this would be the closest finish. Because if my memory serves me correctly, the closest finish between teammates has been about half a tenth. So this would be the closest finish between teammates ever. So this is looking incredibly interesting now. This is really turning around. Pimarolda as well went P7. William Boyter couldn't improve on his lap. Zenlitti stays in P14. Bolton Boy, Tylo, Maseki and Epic Lex are all failing to set laps so far. But Nicholas Boyter is on for another outlap this evening and his final one of the evening. You know, I do feel bad for Rosso to some degree. I think they've gotten unlucky this season that they aren't in a place of certainty now. They need to get these performances, and it's where they are now, another 2 points compared to what VRE would be scoring, which would be 29 points as it stands. 29 points, by the way. 29 points would be scored by VRE. You know, that would just, they'd lose another 27 points to VRE this evening. And that would cut half the gap down at the moment. There's exactly 60 points between Rosso in 4th and VRE down in 6th in the standings. That would just almost cut their entire lead in half. Also, the fact that we'd see SKG get 5 points, they get another 3 points closer as well. You know, they get another 3 points closer in the championship. You know, they're 21 points behind, just bring it down that little bit more. But let's ride on board with Nicholas Boyter on his lap, and let's see how he's going to do and what he's going to do on his lap as well. He's got to put this together. He's P11 at the moment. He needs to find 0.3 of a second, even just to got 1 position. So he's got a long way to go till the top 9, who are in the 1 minute 31.5. So he's 0.8 behind that. So let's see whether he can put together a lap that is going to perform well enough. It's very clear to see who the strong teams are here. And he's invalidated already. Out of the first sector, he's already invalidated. And that is utter disappointment. It really is utter disappointment. Lots of drivers now, by the way. Almost everybody is just flooding out of the pits. The next driver to be crossing the line is Wade for SKG. SKG need a big finish tonight. They want to try and get 4th in the Constructors. Doing a much better job in assists. That's what SKG have been doing. A much better job in assists. They're leading the championship by a huge amount. Most people consider they've pretty much won the championship now. But in no assists, it's been a bit of a struggle this season. 96 points in 10 races. Nowhere close to what they've done in assists, where they've achieved over 20 points per race on average. But here, they've just struggled a lot more. I think a lot more competition as well in that mid-pack, especially. You know, we've got, at the moment, SKG in there, but we've got VRE. We've also got, we've got other teams, Rosso, TDR, XPG guessing in there. Sometimes, you know, and stuff. But Wade, making his way round, he needs a good lap here. He's P13. He needs to try and get closer to his teammate here, but he's got to find 1.5 seconds, by the way, to do that, to get to where his teammate is. So let's see, how much is he going to find? He's going to have a lot of traffic into the final sector as well. That's the problem that he's got. He's going to have a lot of traffic as he enters the final sector. So I have to see how he does. What's his middle sector looking like? He's actually down by 1/10.5 in his middle sector. So Wade doesn't look like he's going to be improving his position here this evening. Looks like he's going to qualify in that P13 spot. You can see 25 seconds of the session to go. Not much longer of this evening's qualifying session. The last few moments. You can see his teammate gets out of the way nicely for him as Wade makes his way around the final corner. Is he going to improve? He improves by 62 thousandths, but it's not enough. It's not enough at all. Naseki across the line. Naseki goes P10, and that's a brilliant jump up in positions there. I think we've got to look to Epic Lexa. Comes across the line next. He goes P7, and a strong finish for himself. Naseki is retired. So that means P7, 11, and 18 are done, and that's that. I think we've got to look to not William Boiter. He's invalidated. His teammate, Nicholas Boiter, has also invalidated. Then we've got to look to AB Julian, who's P14. He needs to find quite a bit of time. I don't know how much he's up by. But we're going to have to see into the final corner. How's he going to do? As he heads up to the line, and across the line he goes. 4/10 found, and still only P14 in the end. We've got to look to, I think, P6. Salvo fastest of all! He does it! Speedy retires. Oh my god. Speedy retires. Inver finishes P5. It's not where he needs to be. Her Queen's round! Her Queen has spun round, and that is the end of his qualifying lap. Utter disappointment for VRE. Utter disappointment. The Bard Tsunami stays P12. Bard Tsunami stays P12. Alberto invalidated his lap. David Kupzik has invalidated as well. Then we've got Pimarolda, who is invalidated, and Wade, who's going around slowly. So in the end, it is Salvador Almeida on pole, and it is OMB for the second time this season who qualify 1-2 on the grid for the second time in Season 5. Second time this season, and it is a 1-2 finish in qualifying. The only team this season to have not only a front row, but to have 2 front row starts now this season. Absolutely incredible to see here in no assists. Qualifying Masters, and honestly, as it stands, the guys that will be taking the lead of the championship out of this race. I have no words for what we've just seen. OMB out on their own. 35,000 split the top 2, but it is teammates 1 and 2 for OMB with Salvador Almeida on pole, then Alberto, Haquin, David, Inver, Speedy, KJ, Epic Lexa, Pimarolda, William Boiter, Naseki, the Bard Tsunami, Nicholas Boiter, Julian, Wade, Zenlisi, Bourbon Boy, and Tylo. That is your grid, and what a grid it is. The fact that the top 6 was split by almost 0.3 of a second, half a tenth, but less than half a tenth between each position on average, is crazy. I have to say, it's pretty interesting. So, let's have a quick look back on that. OMB dominance. I've not seen a team take a qualifying that dominantly. They took a 1-2 in qualifying in Belgium. The only reason why they did that was because they got out early. They were smart and got out early. Got a run on the dry tyres and dry conditions, but the others couldn't, so they ultimately got that 1-2. They didn't finish 1-2 in the end. They finished P1 and P5. And this race, they've done it again 1-2, second time this season to qualify both cars on the front row. One of very few teams, by the way, in all tiers of FRLT, both assists and no assists, to actually get a front row and to get 2 front rows as well. Just to add on to that, by the way, one of the very few teams to get a front row lockout. When I think about it, there's only 4 teams that have done this before that they've achieved. I think three or 4 teams that have achieved a front row lockout in qualifying. So very, very rare to see. Only in 5 races has a team. I think 5 or 6 races has a team had a front row lockout. By the way, only in 5-6 races had they had a front row lockout. In over almost 60 races, about 60 races in no assists and assists combined, to have just 5-6 times the front row lockouts is very interesting, especially through, for instance, AMS dominance. During their time of dominance, they didn't actually achieve that many front row lockouts. They did it in COTA. They became the 3rd team. Yes, this track COTA, they achieved a Grand Slam, their one and only Grand Slam, by the way, in COTA in Season 3. On F1 24, they dominant, absolutely dominant. They led every lap, 1-2 as well. They didn't lose 1-2 throughout the entire race, so it's just incredibly easy for them. It was the most dominant finish by a team ever when it actually came down to also average team pace ahead of the pack. Ahead of the pack in assist, it was actually the biggest, by the way, 0.8 per lap. Nothing seen like that from a team on average ahead of everyone else. So, but we are going. It is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Red lights, and away we go here. In none other than, yes, it is COTA, and down towards turn 1. David Kupzik is going back in the grid. He's gone far back. Look at this, Salvo and Alberto battling over the lead. The 2 battling over the lead, but not only the lead, but also the Constructors' Championship as well. The battle is on. It is between SET and OMB, who will come out of round number 11, leading the Constructors' Championship out of round 11 in Season 5. We're going to have to see the Bard Tsunami having a bit of battle with Julian. There, you see David Kupzik has just absolutely gone all the way through the back of the pack, and he's absolutely lagging everywhere. Massive problems for David Kupzik. There goes William Boiter having a bit of a battle with Pimarulda over P8 there, trying to get that extra point for Rosso here tonight, but he's going to have Nasecki all over the back of him as he heads down towards the next corner. There goes Nasecki on the inside, trying to make the move. You can see William has made that defensive move there, and we can see Wade as well making a very important move in this race. Up to P14 he goes. You can see David has also jumped back ahead of Tylo as well for P17, so he's starting to make his way back through the field as well. He's got at least another sort of 10 drivers to get through before he's in a decent points position. Then looking to the leaders, OMB for another race, lead a race. I believe it's going to be their 7th race that they've led a lap in this season. Salvo Almeida, though, taking the lead out of lap 1. There goes Speedy down the inside of Haquin. He's trying to hold on to it. You can see he's just been able to get the grip out of the car. And Speedy up into P3. Remember, for SET, this is a championship battle. Anything less than... if they lose 9 points to the championship... Well, if SET lose 9 points to OMB tonight, then they will lose the lead of the Constructors' Championship. For the first time since, I believe, round 5, if I'm correct. For the first time since round 5 or 6, they'll lose the lead of the Constructors' Championship. Something that they really want to get here tonight. But it's not proving to be too easy. They've got a long way to go in this race. Here comes Inver. Alberto takes the lead. Inver trying to look for a move on Haquin. not being able to make that move just yet. But I've got to say, you've got to keep EVR in the picture as well. P6 and P7, even though, yes, it is just 12 points for EVR as it stands, it still keeps them in championship contention in relation to all of the top 2 in the championship. Realistically, it keeps them in. You can score a maximum of 36 points a race. So unless EVR go down to being 72 points behind in the championship after this race, they will still be in a championship chance. But at the moment, that championship chance is maybe just dwindling. It is very much dwindling for EVR, because if they don't, I think if they genuinely don't... Whoa! Contact between Haquin and Inver! That's dropped Haquin down to P7, and that is an incident that very much VRE did not need, especially in them trying to chase after 4th in the Constructors. This has completely thrown a spanner in the works for VRE. David Kupzik gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Second driver for penalties this evening, already onto lap 3. David's down in 17th at the moment, while his teammate is up in 7th. But that's just dropped him a load of points from 11 down to just 5 points. Haquin's just lost 6 points in just a matter of moments. And that's just not what you need at this point in a championship battle. Speedy battling on Salvador Almeida for position. There goes Salvador Almeida. Still there. This is one of the worst camera angles I've ever seen. Salvador Almeida and Speedy battling over P2 in this race. Battling over the Constructors' Championship. We know Speedy has been on a run. 3-4 wins now in a row. I believe it's a hat-trick of victories in a row for Speedy and for SCT this season. They've picked up 4 wins in 10 races now. But as it stands, EVR have an incredible 3 wins this season. OMB have 1. SCT have 4. So that's 8 victories. And 1 has gone to SKG as well this season to add on to that. And I think 1 also went on to, I think VMV as well. So 1 win went to VMV back in Hungary, I believe. Epic Lexa gets a 3-second time penalty as well. So KJ and Epic Lexa, both the EVR drivers, now with penalties, damaging their weekend once again. But I definitely think that Inver's going to get reported for that incident there. I just know he will. And from simply what I saw, it looked like Haquin got tapped on the rear. So potentially that will be a penalty for Inver, possibly costing SCT the lead of the championship. Oh my god, teammates collide! Teammates collide into the hairpin. Oh my god, it is battling SCT versus OMB. They are battling in this championship over the championship lead. Oh! And that's Sal Romero round! Oh my god, what is happening? Look at this chaos! Alberto with damage as well, I believe. He's got front wing damage on his car. Yes, he's missing that front wing end plate. And that is utter chaos for OMB here tonight. All they needed to do was keep it calm and keep it cool. And they haven't been able to do that at all. It's gone completely the opposite way. Now, dropping down the order. There goes Epic Lexa down the inside on Alberto. Whoa! Massive moment there. Alberto almost shoving the car off track. But now SCT 1-2 in this race. And that is a recovery they needed. The big question now is what level of penalty will Inver receive? If he receives 3 seconds, at the moment, that will drop him down to about P8 in this race. About P7, P8. But with the other penalties, it will be about P5 to P6 in this race, by the way. So he could be losing a huge chunk of points. He could be losing, at most, he could be losing a massive 9 points tonight. Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? But Speedy leads again. SCT dominance continues. They've led over 80% of the laps this season. They're continuing to lead even more laps. But what happened to OMB there? I don't know what's just happened. I have no words. Sorry, I was quiet for a minute. I have no words for what's happened here with OMB. That level of mistake from teammates as well. Colliding first in turn 12. And then doing it again in that third hairpin. In the final hairpin, sorry. I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you can do that in the fourth hairpin on the track. To collide not once, but to do it a second time in the same sector as well, at the start of a sector, is just... It bewilders me. It completely confuses me how OMB thought that was the game plan. It very much looked like that Alberto went too late on the brakes. Or Salvador Almeida went too late on the brakes and hit his teammate in turn 12. But then it does not explain the next corner at all. Does not explain the next corner. I think OMB may be imploding on itself slightly when it comes down to, well, not just slightly, quite heavily there. Massive implosion from OMB. And the fact that they've gone from scoring a 1-2 and now they're only going to be, scoring those they were on their way for those 36 points, by the way, this evening. They were on for the 36 points, and now they're only on for 14. It's just not what you need as a team, realistically. To drop 22 points. Well, they're on for 15 altogether. 15 points, but possibly even 16. At most, 16 points. But the driver who's really struggling, though, is actually Quinn. P6 at the moment. He's really struggling on his tyres. He made qualifying work. He made qualifying work an absolute treat for himself. P3 on the grid. His teammate behind him, David, just didn't seem to get away at all off of the start. And is all the way down in 16th. And Quinn, P6, will currently make it up to P4 after penalties. So still making it up close to the position he was in. Still getting 11 points for the team this evening. David Kupczyk gets another 3-second time penalty. I believe that's up to 9 seconds now for the VRE driver. Are they going to be suffering a second retirement in 5 races? That's the question. Will they be suffering a second retirement in 5 races? Then they only have an 80% finish rate. Salvador Almeida gets a 3-second time penalty as VE Tylo now retires. TDR not having the best of evenings. But I have to say, the Bard Tsunami might actually be in something quite good here. He might be getting up to P7, getting an extra 5 points for TDR, pulling in the 2 teams of VMV and especially XPG as well. I mean, if the Bard Tsunami was to do that and to get those extra points for TDR tonight, to get up to P7, get those extra 5 points to TDR's campaign, end of the season, get it done. It's going to be now or never. Salvador Almeida being very careful with his move there, not going too harshly. You can see Nicholas Boiter. Oh! And that's collision, and that's Wade, and that's David, both round. I think we've just seen contact between the two, or maybe one of them, I don't know. But something's happened there into turn 1. It looks like David's absolutely got terrible connection at the moment. Seems to be having quite a few connection problems. But Quinn, still in for a chance. Still in for that chance of P4. Still could be getting those 11 points. Still reeling in Rosso by 4 points, which isn't enough. We'll still be reeling in SKG a little bit, but only by 1 point as it stands. 1 point is all. Rusecki and Julian battling over P11 here. Remember, this is actually, at the moment, the position to score points. It is a points-paying position, as it would be, because of penalties. But time is being lost, and you can see Julian is losing time, and he's potentially losing his chance at points. As now, a couple of these guys come into the pits. Now, 3 drivers into the pit. Naseki, Julian, and Baldwin Boy here on lap 9. Hello, Isaias. Welcome. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're having a great day. 3 drivers in the pits. The first 3 stops. David Kupzik as well is in. He's got another 10-second time penalty. And David Kupzik retires from the race. That's his second retirement, by the way. 4 appearances in the 5 races for... I can't speak. I believe that's his second appearance. I believe that's his second appearance in his time. His third appearance, I should say. That's his third appearance this season. And his second retirement, Silverstone, and might be his 4th. Actually, no, it is his 4th, by the way. It is his 4th. My apologies. It is his 4th appearance, and 2 retirements, and 2 points finishes. So Epic Lexa makes his way up to P3 in the race. Alberto losing time. Disappointment for VRE once again this evening. Well, not once again. They had a great week last week. But this race proving to be a tough one and potentially even breaking their chances at reaching that top 5 in the constructors. Now it's going to be everything as now. Salvo Almeida and the Bardstown Army come into the pits. Feeling it's time to come in. But the main problem for Quinn here, he's still got a chance at achieving P3. If he can get to P3, that's another podium and another 13 points for VRE. Reeling in Rosso a decent chunk. They'll reel in Rosso a good amount. Rosso at the moment is only going to go up to about P8, P7. It's only up for 5 points after pit stops. Nicholas Boyce will drop down. So only 5 points compared to 13. So closing in by another 8 points on Rosso. But in a 60-point gap, that's not enough. It will be just 52 points, which means they'll have to achieve 27 points in one race and 26 in the other over Rosso. And with SKG being pretty close, it's going to be a bit of a push. But to some degree, I'm going to say this, for EVR, this is what they wanted. This is perfectly what EVR wanted this evening. P3 and P5. KJ might drop down to about P8. He's going to drop down to about P8. His teammate will drop down to about P6. But it's still going to be another 10 points in the bag. As there goes Epic Lexa and Alberto into the pits. Who else is following into the pits? Only those 2 go into the pits here on lap 10. Now going on to lap 11. So if we have a look at the entire grid and their tyres, see all of the top 7 still on old tyres, and then Litty and Wade also on old tyres. So top 9, sorry, all on old tyres now. 6 seconds penalties for KJ, by the way, so it is 6 seconds. 6 seconds for Epic Lexa as well. It's worse than I thought. I thought they had 3 seconds, and then Salvo Media with 3 and Naseki with 3. But I'm going to be honest now. This race, I think, is going to be very straightforward. I think SEC just have an easy run to the end. It's not going to be a Grand Slam, but it is going to be, I believe, their first 1-2 of the season. And taking 34, 35 of, let's have a look, have they got, the question, have they got fastest lap? No, they don't. So taking 34, 36 points available is massive for SET. Their rivals were only on to score 14 points, plus with the 2, so 16 as it stands, so 16 points. So gaining those 18 points over them, bringing it to 26 points in the championship into the final 2 races is going to be interesting. Speedy is in, KJ is in, Haquin is in. Pimarolda stays out, William Boyter also stays out. So both those two deciding to stay out, which is quite good for them. And I've just noticed something. Both these two, it looked like Haquin had gotten in front of KJ there, out of the pits, but he hasn't been able to. But look at this. They've absolutely been brought into chaos into turn 1. Down to P12 for KJ, P14 for Haquin. Of course, the penalties in front are going to help him quite a bit. See Speedy, by the way, behind Nicholas Boyter. Now stuck there, stuck behind the Rosso for a little bit longer. Epic Lexer catching up at the same time. I don't know how OMB could screw up an easy championship leading moment and an easy way to lead the championship. I don't know. I will be honest, I've not seen a team fumble a race like this badly before. 1-2 in qualifying and fumble it. I know we will say about Mercedes in 2016 in Spain as a potential example of it. But I mean, here in FRLT, I don't think we've ever had teammates collide when leading the race. I don't think we've ever had that. And it's so weird to see as well. And especially at this point in the championship, just risking too much, to be honest. And it's poor from OMB. Where is Alberto going to come out, though? Is he ahead of Inver? He's not ahead of Inver, but they're going 3 wide. And I think there's going to be a little bit of racing here between Inver and Salvo Almeida, but tyre difference, couple of laps, 3-4 laps difference in the tyres is not going to help OMB against SET. I think tonight is another showing that SET are just ahead. Qualifying? No. They're not quickest in qualifying, I would say at the moment. They're not, as a team, they're not quickest in qualifying. I'd say at the moment, the quickest is OMB. As there goes Salvo Almeida down the inside of Inver, as Inver also picks up a 3-second time penalty. So now the position is to battle for. So in this case, Inver might have just dropped 3 seconds, and he's not just lost 1 place to Salvo Almeida, but he's also going to lose another place to Alberto, dropping down to P7, and then eventually P8. So at the moment, dropping down a couple of places, and that's a massive risk. But the one thing we do know is that officially, Salvo Almeida will make his way up another position to P4, and will be up to P3 after Pimarolda stops. He'll be up to P3, and his teammate will be up to P5. So it will still be a decent 23 points. And with Inver as well, swap the positions around with Alberto and Inver. Inver's down to P6 in the end, possibly even P7. So in the end, he's going to drop down to at least P6 at the moment, which means he's only going to score 7 points and his teammate get 18, so 25. So as it would stand, OMB are only losing 2 points to SET. As it stands, only losing 2 points to SET this week, which isn't too bad. KJ making his way past the Bard Tsunami for P8. Of course, with that penalty, still going to drop him back down to P10 in the race. But he's pushing everything he's got into this race. So is Epic Lexa as well, but he's got 6 seconds of penalties, so I don't think he's going to be able to hold on to that podium. Interesting one here is Quinn. He's really interesting me in this race because he's on these hard tyres. He stopped later. So he's gotten stuck in this traffic. He's gone from P14. He's back up into P10. So he's gained these 4 places. And it looks like he's going to go and make that another place. So not just 4 places gained. Is he going to make that a 5th? The Bard Tsunami defending hard. Can the Bard Tsunami defend hard enough? Looks like that TDR driver just about can. And I've got to say, the Bard Tsunami really giving Quinn a tough battle here in COTA. It's not proving to be an easy one for the VRE drivers. So at the moment, VRE's 1 point gained in the Constructors' Championship is not where they want to be. It's really not where they want to be. The one nice thing for them is that Rosso are currently outside of the top 10. So no points for Rosso as it stands. There's not going to be any points for Rosso or any points for only 18 for SKG. But after pit stops, outside of the top 10 for SKG. So no points for them in the end. So it is kind of a bit of a win-win for VRE. They're still going to gain points. But if the championship, if they only had 20 points or 30 points between them and Rosso, then I'd say that's not too bad. But it's the fact that they haven't. And there goes the Bard Tsunami. He makes a mistake. He goes off the track. And I don't think he's really going to battle that. And there goes Quinn up into P9 in this race. With the penalties in front with KJ, that's up to P8 and up to 3 points in tonight's race. But it will be VRE's worst race finish of the season. Bourbon Boy, though, up in P7. We've got to talk about Bourbon Boy. Randomly finding himself up in P7. He's on 7-lap old hard, so he's gone about 3 laps longer than KJ and Quinn. He's got no penalties, 1 stop. I mean, what a race. Bourbon Boy, once again, proving to be one of the best drivers in that mid-pack. He could take 5 points for XPG tonight. And pretty much, I think as most people think, confirm that 7th in the Constructors. Tough campaign, I guess, for XPG. Pretty much almost all of the points have been scored by Bourbon Boy, by the way, this season. Almost all the points have been scored. And there goes Bourbon Boy down to P8 behind KJ. He's got Quinn coming up next behind him. Look at Quinn all over the back of him already. Quinn sticking in behind. See the pace that Quinn is showing is absolutely brilliant at the moment. It's beyond belief. Pimarolda as well is into the pits now. 1-2 for SCT at the moment, but they've got Epic Lexa with them. Alberto's dropped a bit further behind now. He's struggling, same as Salvo Almedo, so those old tyres coming off. But the nice thing for them, Julian's retired as well. ABE also walking away with no points after their first points finished last week. But the good thing for OMB at the moment is that they will finish 4th and 5th. 4th and 5th, 21 points at the end of the evening. But they will also get up to 3rd and 4th, with Epic Lex's penalties, 3rd and 4th. So, to be fair, they're still taking 24 points at the end of the evening. On top of their 2 points, Salvo Almedo gets another 3-second time penalty. So that's going to hurt him a little bit more. Just got to stay within 3 seconds now of Epic Lexa. But on top of the extra 2 points, 26 points compared to 34. It's only dropping 8 points to SCT. It's a small drop. It is a bit of a drop in the ocean for OMB. It's 8 points. Yes, it's an important 8 points, but it only brings the championship to 16 points gap at the top. So in a single race, if OMV were to take a 1-2 finish and SET finish 5th, and even if they finished 5th and 7th and dropped 15 points, it would still be 19 points and they'd still take the lead. So they just need one bad race for SET. But this race looks like their best for SET as Naseki heads into the pits. We got to have a quick chat about VMV at the moment as Naseki goes on to the hard tyres. So Berta gets a 3-second time penalty as well. So not looking too good. Haquin gets a 3-second time penalty as well in this race. Disappointing there for VRE, not what they needed. But Naseki and Zenliti out here for VMV tonight. I haven't spoken about VMV really at all this evening. But there's been one reason for that, and that's because they haven't really shown anything tonight. Very similar to the last sort of 2 races. It's just kind of been, this might sound mean, but mediocre performances or downright bad performances. At the moment, P13, P15, way off, 9 seconds and 11 seconds off of the pack. Off of P12 is just so far behind. Yeah, you've got 3 cars in one picture, but they're just so far behind. As we can see, that is the Bardson Army that's round. William Boyter up to P9 in this race now. To P9 he goes. Important points, especially against VRE this evening. Very important points against VRE. As the Bardson Army now retires from the race and TDR suffer a double retirement, double DNF in COTA. No points this evening for them. Another race. They've only scored points in 3 races if I'm correct. Also 2 races they've scored points in. P8 finish in round 4 and P3 in round 7. P2 in round 7. Sorry, apologies. P2 in round 7 in Hungary. Only 2 points finishes now in 11 races. To be honest, if I was in TDR, I'd be saying to them, maybe it's just time to leave it now this season because there's such a gap at the moment. It's such a huge gap at the moment in the championship that they've got to get 9 points over VMV to equal. They've got to score 10 points to overtake VMV. They've got to score 11 points to overtake XPG as it stands. But with Born Boy scoring another 3 points at the moment, that will take it to 34. So they'll have to score another, 14 points to get up into seventh in the constructors, and that's 2/3 of their points they've scored so far in 11 races. So I don't think we're going to see them score those points in the next 2. I don't think we're going to see them score another 2/3 of their points in the next 2 races. As you see, XPG and Born Boy outside of the top 10 now. P12. Fresh tyres, but he's only going to go up to P11 as it stands. So, disappointing for, I think, XPG. Doesn't look like they're going to be scoring any points again this evening. Double DNF last week, no points this week. 31 points in the championship. As Haquin battles with KJ over P6. Over these important 7 points, remember. It is an incredibly important 7 points in the championship. Because at the moment, this is the difference between still having a chance at P5 in the Constructors, or P4 in the Constructors, or not having that chance. So, with Epic Lexus penalties as well, Quinn will only drop down to, will go up to P5, so 10 points. William Boyter won't. Nicholas Boyter will stay in P10, so only 3 points there. So 7 points gained as it stands. That's not exactly what you want, but Quinn is catching up to Alberto and Salvo Almeida, so potentially P3 could be on the cards for Quinn this evening if he can get in front. As long as he can get in front of Salvo Almeida and Alberto, double points will, at the moment, he will get in front of Salvo Almeida because of penalties, or sorry, Alberto, one of the two. I'll bring that up now because he will get in front of them, because he will get in front of Salvo Almeida because of Salvo Almeida having 6 seconds of penalties. So he's actually going to be up to P4. If he can get past Alberto, that will be P3. So 13 points could be on the table. Massive points haul. Also, if you to look at this, you can see William Boyter. Realistically, this race is actually pretty close. I'll show you, because P1 is here. Last place is just 36 seconds behind. I know that I'll make that sound small, but compared to the average race where it's usually about close to about 40 or to 50 seconds. I think last race we had a driver that was about 56 seconds, by the way, behind the race leader. 56, 58 seconds. So with last race it being so much larger, and most races we see at least one driver over 45 seconds behind the race leader. So I have to say it's surprising to see it not being so far apart. It's much further apart between 9th and, well, between 8th downwards. Because, I mean, 8th to 1st is only 11 seconds. 7th to 1st is 9 seconds. But if you think about it, it's actually only about 6 seconds between 3rd and 7th. Bourbon Boy gets the fastest lap of the race. See, the gaps aren't really growing now. I will say the gaps have stopped growing. Epic Lexus gets another 3-second time penalty. That confirms he'll drop down behind Quinn. The big question. KJ gets another 3-second time penalty. So KJ now loses out at his chance, if I can say it, at his chance of a podium because of Quinn and Alberto in front. So the battle for the podium is still on this evening. I think what's interesting here is that EVR are on for another pole finish this evening. Undoubtedly, they're on for another pole finish. If I was being honest with you, I don't really know what to say about EVR this season. These last 2 races, I think, have been incredibly painful for them. I think that's true, that they've had incredibly painful races. In the last 2 races, these have been very tough races for them. Championship deciding races, and I do think after tonight, I think they are going to lose their chance at the championship. I think they will be outside of championship contention, I do believe. They are 22 points behind. Once Epic Lexus gets all his penalties, he'll be about P8, P9, I think. So will only be, I think, about 9 points. By my count, it will roughly be about 9 points for EVR tonight. But KJ is set to possibly drop behind somebody else as well. He is set to drop behind. He's set to drop down to P9 as well. So both will be dropping down to about P8 and P9. So only 5 points walking the way of EVR this evening. Which just, they can't deal with. 9 points. They're dropping 25 to SET. They are dropping 25 this evening to SET, which is unbelievable to say that they're going to be dropping 25 points, making that a 47-point lead. So unless they close that down to 35 points after the next race, they'll be out of the championship. But I don't want to sound mean here, but I think they're out of the championship chance right now. I think EVR, this was their last chance, I'd say, this season. I think last race was, I think, a bit of a warning for them that they need to make sure that doesn't happen again. But now, this race, again, looking like they'll only score 5 points, you know, compared... Whoa, and a massive look up there for Epic Lexa. But, you know, 5 points versus SEC scoring... 9 points versus... 5 points versus SET's 34. Losing 29 points. My apologies, they're going to lose roughly about 29 points. So they might actually be outside of the championship contention. 51 points will be their total. Salvo Almeida has made a mistake. He's dropped down a couple of places. I'm not sure what's happened there to Salvo Almeida. He's the one with the 6 seconds of time penalties, by the way. Remember that. He's the one with the 6 seconds of time penalties. So he's going to drop down anyway, down to P9. But he should possibly raise himself back up to P... I think he'll bring himself back up to about P8. He will bring himself back up to P8 because of KJ. The only driver that will slot in behind him, I think, at the moment. I think at the moment, as it stands... Salvo Almeida will finish P7. My apologies, he'll finish P7, so he will take 5 points, but not looking too good. Not looking too good at all, but Haquin now on the charge for the podium. 4 laps remaining in this race. 4 laps remain. Naseki gets a 3-second time penalty for Haquin. The main thing is to not get a penalty here and to get past Alberto and to take a third podium, a back-to-back podiums for VRE in Season 5. Take a third podium for VRE this season in 5 races to get another podium. To get a third podium in 5 races is incredible. You know, it is actually, to be fair, it is actually pretty good, to be fair. That's a 60% podium rate for VRE based off of what they could do is about... They're currently on 50% podium rates. So they'll be going up to 60% if Haquin gets the podium here tonight. So they'll be gaining that extra 10%. They'll be hoping for 2 more podiums to end out the season. What will be funny will be that they will be the only team. They'll be the team with the most podiums not to win, by the way. After tonight, they'll be the team with the most podiums yet to win a race in Season 5 in no assists. While Rosso are the team with the most top 5 finishes to not get a victory. Or a podium, I believe, either. So... I don't think they also got a podium. So, it's very interesting. Down to the final 3 laps of tonight's race. Epic Lexa isn't particularly getting far in front, nor is he catching. He's kind of in no man's land at the moment. The front 2 in this race, Speedy and Inver, very much in a race of kind of boredom on their own. On their own very much here tonight. Not really had anything to do. Salvo Almeida gets another 3-second time penalty. That's going to kill his chances in tonight's race, though. That's definitely going to kill his chances. 2 laps. These drivers are going on to the final 2 laps. Any small mistakes could end their chances of a podium here tonight. Still, multiple drivers in the chance for a podium. Will it go to OMB? Will it go to VRE? Will it go to SKG? Who is going to get it? Or will William Boyter, the Rosso driver, get a podium for Rosso out of round 11 after all this bad luck? Or are they going to sit in another tough finish to their season? Another one to add on to it. Now we head down the back straight once again. Quinn is just over a second behind Alberto, but he's closing that back down. You can see how much by the end of the straight. 4/10 by the end of the straight. Look at that. Alberto's gone off track there. A massive mistake. Putting him back in the clutches of Quinn as Epic Lexa gets another 3-second time penalty. I believe that's about 15 seconds of penalties now. So it's looking pretty horrendous for himself. It is battle OMB versus VRE versus SKG versus Rosso with EVR, and that is it. Everybody's in there for a chance. Alberto leading away this mid-pack here tonight. He's leading it away. This is what it's going to come down to. The biggest thing is going to be this first sector. This first sector is going to be the biggest thing. Alberto's doing a brilliant job for a guy that has a front wing end plate missing as well. With that damage, it's really affecting him. We've seen in that first sector he loses about 2/10 in the first sector because of that. He's losing about a 10th at least, but he's just put in a 10th slower than his personal best in this race, by the way. Let's see what's going to happen. We saw about half a second was what you gain out of here. And I think that's Epic Lexa that's going very slowly. Epic Lexa that's going very slowly and causing a bit of a problem. He's gotten a puncture. That's why Epic Lexa gets a puncture onto the final lap. Oh my god, EVR's day just gets worse, and Alberto has been able to hold on to position because of that. But we've got to look to Speedy with one final corner to go for the third or fourth time, or however many times in a row. Speedy wins in COTA and FRLT. No assists season 5, and a great finish. But we've got to look to the battle for P3. It looks like Alberto has just been able to hold on to it till the end of the race. And he's just about gotten that podium, keeping OMB in contention. Pimarolda finishes P5. William Boyd to P6. Bourbon Boy finishes P6 in the end. What a good finish for Bourbon Boy. 7 points for XPG. Massive finish for them this evening. A massive finish for them very much. An incredible race. I've got to put it out there. An incredible race. Absolutely incredible. In the end, success, happiness for the team. So let's go through the order of the grid. It is a 1-2 finish for SCT with Speedy and Inver on top. Alberto finishes in 3rd, Haquin in 4th, Pimaroldo in 5th, Born Boy in 6th, William Boyton in 7th, KJ in 8th, Salvo Mido 9th, Nicholas Boyton 10th, Naseki in 11th, Wade in 12th, Zenlit in 13th, Epic Lex in 14th, Bard Tsunami, Julian, David and Tylo. But by the way, off of that race, I can confirm one thing. That Speedy is the season 5 no assists champion, drivers champion. By the way, I can confirm currently that he is the champion. Since he currently sits on 120 points, he's 54 points ahead in the drivers championship. And of course, you can only score 20 points per race. So William Boyton needs to score 60 points. He hasn't. He scored 5 up to 71 based off of this evening. And based off of this evening, he's scored just 5, meaning he goes up to 71 points. But Speedy goes up to 138 based off of this race, which means he's over 100 points ahead, over 60 points ahead in the championship, or over 40 points now, and means he has officially won the Drivers' Championship. So yeah. So very, very interesting in the end. But ultimately, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. Please make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Also, click on that notification bell to know about all the content from short streams and videos. Also, make sure to go and follow us on Twitter. As you see up in the top left, FRLT F1 at FRLT F1. Also, make sure to come and join our Discord server. The link is down below. Also, big thanks to our affiliates, Connect Motorsport and VRE Shop. Also, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you very soon. Goodbye. Look at this! Look at the battling, and it is a safety car! Here comes Mika into slow corner. Whoa! Almost! Away we go here in the Netherlands for F leading down towards the next cover. Oh, what is? Oh my god! Whoa! Bit of a season as Nano wins in Monza for FRLT Tier 1 of 4. And right, Benedict! Oh, he goes!